All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to put on our enterprise IT architect hats. Our mission, to do some serious due diligence on the big legacy CRM platforms, especially now with their huge pivot to AI. We're going to dig into the financials, weigh all the promises against the very real risks, and try to figure out what it all means for your tech stack in 2026.
So, here's how we'll break it down. First, we'll talk about the core problem you're facing as an IT leader. Then we'll really get into decoding what you're actually paying for. After that, we'll look at the big AI promise they're selling, peek under the hood at the scale of this whole thing, and of course, get into the risks and red flags. Finally, we'll frame the big decision you have to make.
You know, as an enterprise architect, your whole job is to make sure your core platforms are driving the business forward, not just becoming these anchors of technical debt. And let's be honest, right now, no platform is under more scrutiny than the CRM.
And that really is the fundamental question, isn't it? Is this thing an asset or a liability? The vendors are promising this amazing future of AI-driven efficiency. But to get to the real answer, you can't just listen to the marketing hype. You've got to follow the money. And that means looking at the hard numbers.
Okay, so let's get to the truth. We're going to start by dissecting the cost structure of one of the major legacy providers. And we're not just guessing here. We're using their own quarterly report filed with the SEC. This is as real as it gets.
Now, what's really interesting here is where the money is actually going. Out of more than $17 billion in operating expenses, a massive 60% of it, the huge majority of the cost, goes to just one area: sales and marketing.
Yeah, $10.3 billion. I mean, just let that number sink in. This isn't R&D building a better product for you. This is the cost of chasing down new customers. It's a gigantic customer acquisition cost, or CAC, that gets baked directly into the price of every single license your company buys.
And that's the bottom line, right? When you sign that huge renewal contract, you are fundamentally funding an incredibly expensive sales and marketing engine. That is the legacy model you're a part of.
Now look, the vendors know this model is under a lot of pressure, so they're proposing a pretty powerful solution, a big pivot to AI. They're promising a new era of efficiency that, in theory, could actually lower your total cost of ownership.
And the centerpiece of this whole promise is new tech like Agentforce. The idea here is you can build these AI agents that can just handle complex business functions all on their own. I mean, imagine an agent that could autonomously manage your entire referral program or qualify leads without a single salesperson ever having to touch them.
And this quote, pulled right from their financial filing, it just perfectly illustrates their whole argument. They're basically telling investors, and by extension telling you, the customer, that by using their own AI tools, they can finally slash that enormous sales budget. The hint is that maybe, just maybe, those savings could get passed on to you.
But hold on. Before we get too excited about that promise, any responsible architect has to look at the machine they're trying to fix. You have to understand the sheer scale and complexity we're dealing with here. We're not talking about some nimble startup. This is a company with over $30 billion in revenue in just 9 months. It's a massive global operation. Trying to turn this ship, even by a few degrees, is a monumental task that involves billions of dollars and processes that are deeply entrenched. And this is exactly where your professional skepticism has to kick in. As an architect, your job is to weigh the sales pitch against the documented risks. It's time to go looking for the red flags. So let's start with this number, $52.5 billion in something called goodwill. Now, in accounting terms, that's just the premium they paid for past acquisitions. But in architectural terms, let's call it what it is. It's a proxy for software bloat. This number basically represents a long history of just bolting on other companies, other code bases, and other technologies. For your team, that translates directly into integration nightmares, more potential points of failure, and the constant headache of maintaining a system that wasn't really built but was just assembled. And you don't even have to take my word for it. The company's own list of risk factors reads like an architect's worst nightmare. They straight up name the complexity from acquired companies, the difficulty of integration, and the new security risks from AI as major challenges. It's all right there. So here's the crucial point. Even as they're adding shiny new AI features on top, the underlying foundation isn't just staying the same. It's actively getting more complex and harder to manage. The technical debt is just piling up. And that brings us to the final step in our due diligence. As the architect, you now have the data. It's time to put it all together and frame the decision that you're going to have to make for 2026.
It really comes down to this core tension. On one side, you've got the promise, a future of AI automation that could genuinely cut costs. But on the other side, you have the reality, a huge, sprawling platform built on decades of acquisitions with known risks and enormous technical debt.
You know, this decision is about so much more than a feature-by-feature comparison. It's about the architectural philosophy you're betting on for the long haul. Are you betting on evolution or revolution? Because this choice is going to define your company's agility, its security, and its total cost of ownership for years to come.
So that's the strategic choice you're left with. Do you bet on the incumbent giant successfully retrofitting AI onto its massive complex core? Or is it smarter to look for a nimbler AI-native disruptor that was built from the ground up for this new world? There's no easy answer, but asking the right question is always the first and most important step.